And could we all rise and say the pledge? Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Is there anybody that wants to make a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Hearing nobody against. All in favor.
Motion to approve the minutes and to.
Is there a second to approve the minutes? That's from May 16th. You all got a copy of that? Is there any corrections or changes? If not, all in favor of approving the minutes of May 16th, say aye. Aye. Nay, if not. Hearing no one, all in favor. I'll let Lynn get seated. The staff, during the meeting, on whatever we recommend, when is the next county meeting that they're expected to be brought up?
Okay, July 9th at 9 a.m.
July 9th, 9 a.m. Thank you. Updates from Board of Adjustments. Jordan.
We had 3 petitions today, 2 of which you'll be hearing the second half of in this meeting. We approved prime soils variance for Thomas and Sarah Kirill. We tabled 1 item, and then we approved feedlot expansion for the Vicks and Lewiston sales. That was within 1,000 feet of a platted subdivision. So we approved the variance for that.
Mr. Chair, can I ask why table? Was that the,
There was another prime soils variance where we didn't have a completed township acknowledgement form. There's an issue with the DNR regarding a stream, a driveway going over a stream.
right? Thank you.
And a septic concern as well.
Okay, we're going to move right on to docket number piece.
The county board,
Oh,
I'm sorry.
I thought you were done.
No. We approved
You do.
the county
You do
board.
something?
Yeah, every now and then, I earn my paycheck. Every now and then. The docket, which had been the Bass Camp conditional use permit for Kylie Robecky, was approved without any other consideration at the last county board meeting. Thank you.
Okay, to clean that up. Okay, we're going to move on to docket number PC 06-20-2401. And it's to consider a petition from Thomas and Sarah Carroll, who are seeking conditional use / interim use permit regarding the following: to allow a new residential building site dwelling in the agricultural resource conservation zoning district on less than the required acreage pursuant of the Winona County zoning ordinance, section 10.4.6 of 36. So who's got this one, Lou? Go ahead.
Thank you. Before we get started, just real quick, I'd like to just take a moment to introduce our new planning director, Doug Cieslak. Comes to us from Wisconsin, and
Good to see you again.
Wisconsin.
I know. I've given him enough grief about that.
Do what we can.
Good job, Mark.
so yeah, we're happy to have him. He's still, I think, what, 2 weeks? Is it third week? Third week. So just still kind of getting his feet under him and figuring out what the heck's going on around here. Yeah, we're happy to have him. So with that, I'll start my presentation here on the on this docket number. We have a new dwelling on less than 40 acres. It's a proposed 3-acre parcel. That's part of the larger, or it's coming off of the larger 330 acre Carroll Trust. That 330 acres encompasses 4 parcels. And those are the parcel to the north and west of the parcel that's indicated, and the 2 parcels across the street, and then the parcel to the south of the farmstead that's across the street. Does that make sense? So that would be in this area. So proposed 3 acres, that'll be, that won't be part of the trust. So that's going to be owned by Thomas Carroll, who is the son of I believe Lyle and Marilyn, who live across the street on the farmstead. It's in Warren Township, section 33. Here's a site plan showing the approximate location of an orientation of the driveway and house, along with the prime soils, which was part of the petition earlier today. Well, there's also criteria for the CUP that's concerning prime soils as well. It's a roughly 2,000 square foot house with a 3-car garage. They do operate a daycare out of the home, and that would be part of the house as well as a play area outside. It is daycare is just an FYI. They are exempt from zoning regulations, so we can't. There's no permit for allowing a home occupation for a daycare. Daycares are permitted by state statute, and it is on a Class 2 soil. Another aerial view of the a little closer of the proposed parcel on the left, and highlighted the house across the street that Tom and his family currently live in. You can see just the north and east of there are his folks' home. And so the idea would be to build the new home across the street on the new parcel. At which time, upon completion, they would remove the old home. So the farmstead will be left with just 1 dwelling, not 2. So it's kind of a balance, like for like, just building on his own parcel across the street. Here's the petitioner's site plan showing setbacks. Setback from Wilson Frontage Road is 65 feet from center line. And you can see that the structure will be meeting approximately as proposed at 130 feet. So plenty of room there for the dwelling. And then septic system, we have not been on site to verify soils, but they're kind of penciling in a location to the south and east of the dwelling for septic system. We have a couple photos to give you an idea of the lay of the land there. This is looking north on Wilson Frontage Road. You can kind of see the access to the existing farmstead on the right hand of the photo. And then the proposed building site would be off to the left side of the photo in the corner of that field. And here's a view to the south from the north end of the proposed parcel. And a view of Wilson Frontage Road. The existing farmstead's on the left, and the proposed dwelling would be on the right. That's really all I have for review. There's a township acknowledgement form. The Warren Township indicated support for the petition. And as always, Planning Commission should consider all testimony and materials before making findings for a decision. Staff analysis and draft findings are written to support the CUP. And we have included 3 conditions for your consideration if you decide to approve the petition.
Any questions?
Do I have any questions?
Yes. I find it odd. I totally support projects like this. I totally support daycare, having been, down that path and everything. But I find it odd that we regulate animals, we regulate buildings, we regulate septic, but we don't regulate kids. I mean, you said it's a state license, so
It's,
what are the, and Eric looks like maybe, what are the parameters the state will look at? I mean, I
We,
would.
we still regulate it from licensing from the human services and they
Yeah.
need to license and go through the county process. But from zoning code perspective, we cannot intervene and require interim or conditional use permits.
But will the licensure, and I guess, I know we do that at
Mhm.
Health and Human Service and the state does, but will they require certain setbacks or anything? I want these people to be able to do what they want to do.
They're more concerned with interior,
Period.
yeah.
Okay, all right. I just. find
We,
it
we
very
do
strange.
have candid conversations with people that have septics and wells when they're contemplating that. If you have 10 little kids running around flushing the toilet every 5 minutes, there's repercussions with the septic system. So we try to give them, they better try to incorporate some type of design features with that, so.
Okay, all right. I find it strange.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have a question. This is a 3-acre parcel. Was it created recently and for this proposed use or?
it was created for this proposed use, I believe, but it was created about 3 years ago. So it has been in this alignment for that.
And
for
it's
a while.
appropriate size for this area?
Yeah, the minimum lot size is 1 acre. Anything under 40, of course, needs a conditional use permit. Anything over 40 is by right as far as lot size.
Was there any need for deed restriction to limit further dwelling density for this parcel?
It's not been a typical practice, so no, we really do take it as a case-by-case basis by application, so. But it is something I think in the criteria that it tries to get at, as far as, if there are existing dwellings in the area or if it's, on its own, if it's for agricultural purposes, if it's, meets the character kind of the neighborhood.
That's kind of hard.
Yeah, so that's what we're kind of relying on to judge that when they come through for a conditional use permit.
Understood. Thank you.
Anything else? Thank you, Lou.
Yep.
Would the petitioners like to speak? Sarah, Tom? Come on up.
So the septic guy was out.
Tom, you gotta state your name and address.
My name's Tom Corral, 24905 Wilson Frontage Drive, Lewiston, Minnesota. The septic guy came out today and because of the elevation of the land, the septic is gonna be moved just all the way to the back, straight back from what it is on the screen there, to the corner of the property line. It's gonna be moved behind the house and not between the road and the house, so. That's for as far as flow and everything, I guess, so. Other thing, as far as like the driveway is up on the highest point, so it's more safer driveway than what we actually have right now because it's on like a lower spot, so. And it'll be, I don't know. What else, anything else to add? But yeah, the septic proposed septic got changed to the back of the property. That's all I guess I could update, but.
Eugene. Tom, you're gonna use the existing well on the other side of the road?
No, we are digging a well.
Oh, that
It's
isn't strong.
It's on that one, on the other one, on the one that I drew out.
Well, the one you drew out.
It'll be, far enough away from the septic, so.
Okay, okay.
How about the old well? Will that be sealed off or?
That's the farm well, so
Oh,
that's
okay.
my parents, that's that side of the.
Yeah, okay.
Marcia.
Question then, the septic, obviously it's being sized to accommodate the daycare?
Yes,
Okay,
yeah,
they know that, I mean, they know.
yeah, we were talking about today and it's for what, we have like our water softener meters, how much water we use, and we're below the average for a 4-bedroom house, so, and that's what the septic is getting based off of, the 4-bedroom.
And then you currently do run childcare. And do you know what kind of requirements the state is going to,
So
you're aware of it and you're willing to work with them and it's not going to be too,
it'll just be my typical license, like relicensing.
okay?
When Jenny comes, the licensor, she will just look at the new place and it really is more interior stuff to make sure it's safe, make sure there's fire exits. As far as though, I heard somebody mention the water, I have to have my water tested every year because we're on a well that will carry over to the new house. So really building a new house doesn't affect,
Your
I
license.
have to follow all the same regulations in this house versus, the house we're in now versus the new house. So it doesn't really affect the building of it.
And for drop off and pickup of children, you have your own driveway off the main, it's just your residence, it's no other use of your driveway.
I'm sorry,
There's no other residence or anything that's going to use that driveway. It's gonna be
No.
Your house and your.
it'll be our house, yeah.
Okay.
Do you feel as though this expansion will allow you to grow your business at all?
No, per state laws, I'm licensed for 12 children, so I can only have 12 children.
It'll make it a little easier because we'll have more space because for the current house is limited on space for the kids, so.
Any other questions? Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you.
Motion to open the public hearing? Or did you have a question?
I have one thing I wanted to add that I forgot to mention earlier. We did add a condition, in case the question comes up, to have the house demolished within a year of them moving into the new house. Just want to make everyone aware of that. But I will make the motion to open the public hearing.
And do I have a second?
I'd second it.
All in favor, say aye. Aye, opposed, nay. Our public hearing is now open. Anybody wishing to speak on this petition, please come to the microphone and state your name and address and your concern. Anybody wishing to speak on this petition, please come to the microphone and speak for or against it. There's nothing on our site that you know of, staff. Well, for the third and final time, anybody wishing to speak for or against this petition, please come to the microphone. Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion
I
to
will
close the
so
public
move.
hearing, and do I have a second?
I'll second.
Louis kind of beat you there, Shep, but I'll be looking your way later.
It's great.
All in favor of closing public hearing, say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Hearing none, all in favor. And we have closed the public hearing. Now, commissioners. Some of your wishes.
Mr. Chair, more of a question for staff than with Mr. Potter's comment that the old house needs to be taken down within a year. Do we need to address that in the conditional use permit or is that covered under the variance?
If you would like, you're certainly welcome to. It is attached to the variance. And I think that there is a condition, have a blanket condition that says that they're held to their representations and application, what they represented in their application. So I think it would also fall under that condition. But if you wanted to be more specific and add it, you're certainly welcome to.
Isn't,
We've got some old houses sitting around the county that are abandoned that never seem to get taken down.
but isn't that a separate piece of property and classified separately? It was a trust.
It
How
is.
can we delve over there? Well, I think we can stick to our 3 acres.
Yeah. Good question.
I agree, Mr. Chair, and the third condition says that they're allowing staff to inspect property annually, so we'll be able to see if
Mhm.
if what conditions were described in the petition are actually met.
I guess I'd have a question. If it, valid point, it's a separate parcel, so how can we condition it even in a variance that it be taken down?
Well, I'm not here to hear a variance,
No.
but if the variance is a past that, then so be it. I don't see where our jurisdiction is any better than theirs. So aren't we double dipping here? Well, I don't feel we're talking about the property the petitioners are presenting. I think
It's
that's
the same
reaching out
property
here.
that was discussed at the variance. So again,
Well, I'm hearing a petition on 3 acres across the street from where that old house is.
One more question for Lou.
Go ahead.
Is that 1 acre parcel across the road, would that be still a buildable lot?
So I'm sorry, say that again.
That acre parcel across the road, would that still be a buildable lot? Or would that also require a variance? Or a-
Well, that would require a CUP. We'd have to do a little bit of research to see, when that was created.
There's not a dwelling there right now. right?
There's not a dwelling there, and I guess you could ask the applicants where that came from and why that was split. But yeah, that hasn't been part of our analysis, and they haven't indicated that they have plans to build there.
Any other questions?
Just to address that issue a little bit, it's a valid point that it's a separate lot and they're not part of the petitioners, though that all at one time was part of that trust. And I don't know if any conditions or promises were made at the time the split was made. And also, I think considering it being all part of one trust parcel being viewed that way in the board, the commission considering it that way, in terms of what they're going to require from the petitioners, I don't think it's unreasonable to add that condition, particularly if the petitioners consent to it as part of the approval. So that would be an issue that would require more research to determine the facts to see exactly if you could do that or require that. But it's also, I would say, if the petitioners consented to it, it likely would not be an issue.
So are you suggesting the variance that was passed today, it might not be useful?
So that, no, it's up to you to decide what you want to require in the variance. I'm just telling you
Well,
about,
the variance is, we didn't determine that. We're here for the conditional use.
yeah. Well, I'm just trying to address the issue of whether you have the authority to attach conditions to that separate parcel.
Okay, well, you heard the attorney's thought on that. So anybody comment on it or anything? I've already said how I feel.
Are we able to hold them to a verbal commitment tonight?
Well, the way the conditions are written is they're supposed to abide by all their commitments, and those would include verbal commitments.
So if we task you with agreeing to that tonight, you're ready to do that?
But we don't own that house or that property.
I see.
So
That's the heart of the matter.
That's the part of it.
It's a trust.
My parents want it down because it's too close to their house.
I see.
they're kind of linked together.
Does this mean, should we consider tabling this until we get those details worked out? Or would we be able to move on this tonight?
I think we can move on it tonight because to me, we're here for land use. We have a petition for 3 acres. We don't have a petition dealing with a trust that has multiple ownership of that trust, and they made a commitment with their variance. And here, I think we're making it more difficult for his staff to do their job.
I see that.
Yeah, and I should have clarified, I was speaking generally about both the variance and what you're doing tonight in terms of the ability to require that. I didn't mean to put it in the context of whether you should do it instead of the variance.
Jordan, didn't you say the variance The Board of Adjustments decided that that was a condition to remove the house?
Yeah, but it was also mentioned in their application, which is why we moved forward with that condition.
All right, so,
Yeah, it is in writing here.
so as proposed, I think we have commitment enough,
Let that committee do their job.
right?
I move we accept the findings and facts of staff and approve this petition.
Any more discussion? Otherwise, we'll vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Anybody abstaining? So all in favor. And your next hearing, if I heard it right, was July 9th at 9 o'clock in the morning with the county commissioners. We are sending along to recommend that you go ahead with what your petition is. Okay. So I want to confirm July 9th, right? So 9 a.m.
And Mr. Chair, just the angst I have is that we do have in Winona County a number of homes that are not inhabitable. I appreciate they're willing to take it down, but I have a lot of people that don't take them down. They sit there, they become health hazards, and it's very difficult to get them. So I appreciate they're willing to take it down. It's very difficult to get somebody to take a house down. But even if they're not living in it, and the raccoons and the varmints have
I
taken over.
understand, but those houses that are out there are not their problem.
Right, but that's part of my,
So
Maybe it could be a fire department project when they send
Yeah.
out their trainees and they burn down a house.
I think they bring it up at the county commission meeting.
use.
Thank you. Any questions? Otherwise, we're going to forward this to your next hearing. And I thank you for your time. Please close. You already flipped that. I'm
Good
like, oh.
evening. You guys are unfortunately going to see a lot of me tonight.
Yeah, I got to introduce it yet. I'm just getting to the next petition. Next petition is PC 0620-24-02. And it's the petitioner is requesting a conditional use permit to allow existing feedlot facility to expand beyond 300 units. A change in operation pursuant to chapters 8.4.6.2 and 10.4.6.1 of the Winona County zoning ordinance. Petitioner also seeks to modify the existing conditional use permit to expand an existing livestock sales barn and accessory facility in pursuant of the Winona County Zoning Board zoning ordinance, chapter 10.4.6.23. The subject property is located in section 13 of Utica Township. So take it away.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. So this petition is for the Lewiston Sales Inc., their livestock sales barn in Lewiston, Minnesota, just outside of city limits in Utica Township. They're proposing to add a 74 by 80 foot addition onto the west end of their existing facilities. They're also looking to modify and expand two existing open lots to become 3 open lots that are concrete floor instead of, right now, half is concrete, half is dirt. They're looking to add a concrete perimeter to that and then have it slope to the east end so it can, any overflow liquid from heavy precipitation events will be treated through a bermed infiltration strip. This is looking at the existing facility from the north side, looking south, at their loading dock where cattle get dropped off and loaded into trailers. And then to the left side, you'll see that's the office space, so it is currently being utilized. This is where the proposed expansion would be taking place. Looking south again, it's currently gravel used for piling manure when it's being hauled away, or as you can see, trailer parking. This is looking to the west on the south end of the property, at the existing open lots. This is where the infiltration strip and berm would be placed. They did go to the Utica Township and they voted to support this project on May 13th. The staff analysis recommends approval of this project. And if you should want to. Any question?
Leonard.
There's no animals being fed over the time of that stuff. It's just livestock in and out, correct?
So livestock are not fed for the first 24 hours there. If they're there beyond 24 hours, then they do feed them.
This is what I'm saying. It's not an ordinary feedlot. We're just getting
No,
permit.
they are grazing animals there.
No, okay. That's what I think.
It's confined spaces, where manure does pile, so it's considered a feedlot according to state statute.
So the video you showed us, or the slide you showed us of where the berm filtration system, that's in that, where the grassy areas or in the open lot area?
A grassy area. So currently, right now, it abuts a neighbor's field, and so that berm would keep any liquid on their property. So it wouldn't go onto the neighbor's field.
Do they operate, they have a manure management plan and everything that,
So all the manure is transferred. It's been transferred to a neighboring feedlot operator for many, many years. And he has a manure management plan. And I think the last time I inspected them was 21, and they were compliant.
okay, so they follow all the other
Correct.
regulations from MPCA and everything?
Yes, so now with them increasing to this amount of numbers, they will have to keep transferred manure records, which are a little bit more in depth, but still not to the point of like them having a manure management plan. The neighboring feedlot operator does include this manure in his plan.
Lynn.
I'm just trying to understand things. I understand they're auctioning the cattle, so they're just there for a little while.
Yes, a very short amount of time.
We still have to look at animal unit caps because they're congregated.
They're not being capped at anything. They're not close to the 1,500.
Yeah, no, I understand that, but I just noticed that they talk about increasing the
Yep, so we
animal
do,
units.
we still look at capacity. So we are still keeping them, holding them to an animal unit capacity for permitting purposes.
And they're typically there like a week or something?
No, no, so less than 24 hours usually. So usually they get dropped off the day of the auction, and then usually by the end of the day, those cattle are taken. There's a very limited number that stay, whether the VIX buy them or someone can't pick them up that day. That's really usually the only reason.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions?
Thank you. Petitioners, come on up and speak. Your name and address, otherwise a watchdog down there is going to get you.
I'm Zach Vick, one of the owners at Lewiston. Resident,
All right, go ahead.
215 First Street, Lewiston, Minnesota. A little background on the facility. My grandpa purchased it in 1977. I think originally it was built in 66 or something. We have sales twice a week, and we trade livestock there. Tuesday night is our fat cattle, so we bring cattle in on Tuesdays, sell them at 6. When I say fat cattle and cow cows, it's just, those animals are just going to market, to a packing house to be processed. We're the middle person for farmers to bring their livestock to us, and we market it for them in that aspect. And then Thursday, we have our general sale where we sell baby calves, feeders, and then up to market cows and bulls also on that day. Carly mentioned the cattle short term. It is short term, like on a sales Tuesday. Cattle come in Tuesday morning and they're usually gone the next day. So they're only there for like 24 hours. It's pretty minimal. All pens have water in them. We got in our building here, the existing building, we got 4 drinkers in here, 2 drinkers in there, so they have water at all times, and then they have the water in this middle lot is a concrete, this is dirt lot, and this would be the one we're trying to add on. A dirt lot, we can't, with Animal Board of Health, they don't let us use a dirt lot for livestock unless it has concrete or a rock base, so that's why we cannot use that one to the east of the building right now, so. Yeah, and then the addition part, we like to see cattle under a roof, that's why we would like to have that enclosed, that portion. And then it'd be, like she mentioned, concrete all the way around, so everything is caught and out the berm, runoff or everything, so. Questions, I guess?
Go ahead.
I have a question. Is this just cattle strictly, just
Livestock, yep.
livestock in general, so to include pigs?
We don't touch pigs, yeah.
Okay, so just
Yep.
cow.
No, that's
Are
kind of
any of these cattle crossing state lines from like their point of origin to your auction facility?
they do, yep.
Has any of the current animal, I forget the respiratory infection that's going around right now, is that being tested before or at your facility?
It's, I see what you're saying. It's just, it's a lactating, they're just testing lactating cows right now.
Oh, sure.
So it doesn't affect, feeder cattle, beef cattle, bulls, steers. It's just lactating animals. And then if they're going directly to market, so our facility is not directly to market, but it's a roundabout way to market. So we can market those animals for the farmer.
If I heard you correctly, none of the animals that you're receiving are lactating, so they don't get tested.
No, some of them are lactating.
Oh, I see.
But right now, we do have a drop point in Wisconsin. Those lactating cows, we keep at that facility and we send them directly to a packing house in Wisconsin.
I see.
And then all the Minnesota cattle that originate in Minnesota right now that are lactating can be transported directly from our facility to a packing house since they're going straight to slaughter right now. So did that make sense?
And that's the current rules.
It
May
is.
change.
Yeah.
May change.
Yeah, we have to follow the rules because we get inspected by packers and stockers. We get inspected by the Board of Health. Board of Health comes once a year. It's a state vet. We have a regional state vet that comes darn near once a month, if not more frequently. And then we have a local vet that's there for every sale, inspecting animals. And then on Thursday, we have the vet there to inspect animals and also to vaccinate if the farmer wishes. If he bought 10 head and he wanted them vaccinated, that vet's there to do that, for that.
And they have to be identified.
And
Go out of
yes,
state.
yes, anything, any dairy animals. Any dairy animals get a federal ID ear tag going out of state also.
Okay.
If we sell them to a different farm out of state.
It's trackable, should they test later in the,
You bet, everything is tracked basically to the T.
do you find the testing to be adequate?
No, I do not.
Okay.
Yep.
That's a different topic.
It is.
Just asking. good to
Yep.
hear.
No, I don't know. In my opinion, it's in everything, and I think it's kind of BS that they're just doing the lactating cows. So that's just my 2 cents on that.
Understood. Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions? I know that a lot of these issues you're bringing up are controlled by the Department of Agriculture through the Board of Health. And they're required to follow all that regulation, just like any facility
Yep.
throughout the state that it's a sales condition. So all of that is traceable and they're pretty aggressive, right?
They are, yeah.
And that's their job.
Yep.
So So I'm convinced they cover it quite well.
Yeah, it's our livelihood, so we have to obey by it, and that's just what we do. So,
Absolutely.
Yep.
Could I ask one question you get for part of it? Have they had any reactors to the TV and also possibly bangs? Have you ever had them come through?
The TB,
TV or bangs in the last 4 or 5 years?
not in the last 4 or 5 years, no.
Marcia?
I just want to say thank you for operating. This is a necessary part of our animal,
Yep.
livestock
Yeah.
system. And so you're third generation running this.
We are,
right?
yep.
So thank you for doing that.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Marcia.
it.
Thank you, Zach.
Good?
Yep.
Yeah. Thanks.
We might call you back, but I probably not. Opening the public hearing, do I have a motion? Jordan, you want to take a second on that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Hearing none, all in favor. Anybody wishing to speak for or against this petition, please come to the microphone. Identify yourself, your name and your address.
Richard Fisher, 24894 County Road 25. I'd like, first of all, is this a confinement center or a holding area? That's what I want to do, 300 head of cattle. If they're going to have that many up there, I'm worried about the runoff and the manure and stuff. I already got problems. I was sleeping at the switch October of 2003 when the tornado took the building and they rebuilt and they put they poured cement right on my property line. And we sent them a letter because they had the fence posts on my property. And now every time it rains or they got cattle in there, I get runoff. And I got about 20 feet, maybe 30 feet. I can't put any crops in or nothing. It's a mud hole. I got pictures of what I'm putting up with now. I'd like to show you if you would. And we spoke about it. I'd like to be a good neighbor. I did what I could. 4 years ago and went over and kind of raised hell over there. And they were going to pay me damages, but I haven't seen the dime yet. So, but if they're going to the west and fill that in, where are they going to go with the manure and stuff? We got a problem if they're going to pour on the property line again. And if it's just a holding area, and they can take care of their runoff, that'd be okay. But if they're going to be a 300 cow feedlot, that could end up being 300 cow feedlot. You know what I'm saying? But the runoff's a big thing, and it slopes always to the south anyway. And years ago, they didn't have cattle except on a sale barn day. Now there's cattle there all the time, so there's runoff there all the time. So, and now I noticed the other day they're piling the manure again to the west, and then it constantly drains. And you can't plant a crop. If you can get in there in the spring and it's dry enough, you can seed it down, but then over the summer it gets underwater and there's nothing there. So I don't know what else I could say except the fact that I'd like to get my problem solved and make sure we don't have another problem worse than what I got now. I don't see how they're going to contain all that runoff and their animal waste. But I'll let that up to you folks and see what you can do about it.
Sir, if you don't mind a question, where are you in proximity to this proposed?
I'm right on the edge of
You're to the
I got
west
the
here?
cornfield on the edge of that concrete that's poured there now in back. I'm south.
Oh, so we're looking at the area, it's the yellow
Yeah.
blocks there.
Yeah.
I understand. And if I understand what you said, also on heavy rain days, there seems to be runoff that leaves from the site and enters.
I got
onto
run
yours.
off almost all the time. I mean, yeah,
Regardless of the weather?
when it rains,
I see.
yeah. Because the roof comes off the roof to you and washes everything out,
I understand.
We sent a letter out in 2003, October And we wanted to get that straightened out. And nothing's been done since, so it's still the way it was in 2003 after they,
Would you reiterate, how is it impacting your property? Other than just there's,
well, it gets so muddy in there, I can't plant a crop if I get a,
okay,
it's about 12 rows of corn or more, and runs the length of that area down there. And there's damage that could be paid. I mean, I'm losing, it's damage, you know,
yeah, I mean, 12 rows is, it's
Yeah.
some, it's a considerable,
and it sits in there, you know, the water.
thank you.
Dick, I'm going to ask Carly a question here, and there's two of them I have, Carly. One, what is the setback? Because there's a proposed building here, and that would have to be set back on that property line. And also, on the new facility they're talking about, if I heard you correctly, this will all be housed with cement underneath it, all right? And to me, this could solve Dick's problem by not allowing the outside lot.
Correct. So the thought on this is that around all of these open lots will be a concrete wall. So nothing's going to leave to the south. And then there will be a small, like a picket fence over here to keep back solids and to let some liquid, if it is a heavy rain event, the liquid will go this way and run along the side of the property here. And then there will be a berm installed here, a grass berm, probably a foot or two tall. So it'll keep the water on their property versus flowing to the south.
No.
What about the existing property, existing cement there now? How are you gonna put a wall through that cement? You gonna cut it out?
They're fixing all these lots to cement with a concrete wall.
4 feet deep or a wall or burn, just pillars, cement pillars? 4 foot deep, 4 foot high? How far is that gonna run to my property line?
That's where the setback is.
Yeah, Carly, can you kind of say, so Mr. Fisher's is on the picture,
On the
off the screen.
So off the screen where this
And-
light gray line is the property line.
That's, okay, that's the property line. Okay, thank you.
So this part here is gonna be torn on. The back of that feedlot right now.
So it's gonna be fixed.
That's taken out?
Yeah, you gotta
Yep.
take the concrete out. corner.
Yep, so they're taking that out and fixing it and putting a wall.
Should be on.
Well, I hope that works.
I also hope that addresses the concern. It seems like that was the consideration there.
Yeah, but,
Sounds like an improvement with the 4-foot wall.
huh?
It sounds like it'll be an improvement with the 4-foot wall and new concrete.
Yeah, as long as there's something to hold it in there, because everything runs to the south.
Yep, currently there's no curbing on there or anything, so it
Nothing.
currently just can go. So it'll help your property.
Yeah,
It's an improvement.
Get these back.
something I've been waiting for since 2003.
Any
Okay.
other questions for Dick before he sits down? Thanks, Dick. Anybody else wishing to speak? Please come up to the mic, state your name and address.
We got another one.
Yeah, I'm watching. Well, I don't see much action, so I'm going to ask again, anybody wishing to speak?
I'm coming to this.
Yep,
Wait a minute.
please come up.
Everybody's got a lot of time. Rock sites. I own a property on 27
What was your name again and address?
Brock Sites. I own a property on 24572 County Road 25 in Utica Township. It's the end of this cornfield. Where that cornfield ends, I own it, that piece of property right there. And County Road 25 is there. It behooves me why you're gonna be within 1,000 feet of my property. Why we build this way and not build this way where they own property. So the lot line for this field that Richard Fisher owns, that corner is here, here. Now they're gonna mitigate this section here. And you're gonna put a berm infiltration strip. Why don't they concrete this whole thing? Because this is where the lot line is. You can just see what's gonna happen. All the water coming off of here is gonna come down here, and we have assurances this time that they're gonna build a 4-foot wall to stop this runoff going into the field. Why don't they put a berm of concrete all the way back to their property line? And then they can put their infiltration strip and put a berm so it doesn't come on to the other property line. And the other thing is, why don't you build your addition this way? Because you own this chunk of land, and this land is very low, and it's ideal for your berm. But I'm concerned about not getting this wall run all the way past Richard Fisher's land corner. And why we're building closer to our property instead of not building away from all the properties that run that way. So therefore, that is my concern, and I'm against the expansion. Any questions for me?
There may be, don't go away.
I'll stay here.
Anybody have any questions? Lynn?
Well, for clarification, I don't know, maybe we need our planner. On page 52, they show the beacon.
That's the one I'm on right now.
Yeah.
So the what?
I'm just asking for clarification.
Well, I'll come and show it to you.
I'm looking beyond that, sir.
Right here. That's Richard Fisher's property line. And this is where the pens end, right? So they have all this area that, I don't know what they're gonna do with that. They talk about a burn, but when we get all this water coming this way, it's still gonna spill over. They should contain that so it goes into their land here. This is their land here.
So they own both sections.
Sir,
This is our dwelling. Right here.
so what you're talking about, the berm is going to go to that second parcel, and it is going to continue to be
The
treated.
berm is gonna go where? The berm.
So the infiltration strip is going to go all the
Okay, that's fine. Why, what is? Are you gonna have a high enough berm to hold that water from not running back into Richard's field?
Yep, the land already slopes to the east.
Yeah,
So
understood. I don't know why you don't just put a concrete wall to your property here. This property is very low. You have all the time to do it. And I don't know why you didn't build on your property there. Why do you want to come closer to residential property? That's not being a very good neighbor, I don't think.
it's a separate parcel. So you
You
can't,
own that parcel, don't you?
but it's considered a separate parcel, so you
What?
can't build on two parcels.
What? Zoning.
No, I'm a planner. I'm not the owner, so.
Well, if they're looking for a variance here, I'm sure they could get a variance to go there.
The variance was already granted this afternoon at 1. This is
What
the
variance?
variance to build where they proposed it.
Why did I get a letter to say to come here tonight at 7:00?
This is for the conditional use permit.
Well, why didn't they tell me that? I should have come here. You mean I should have been here at 1:00 this afternoon?
Yes.
Well. Give me that letter.
We don't notify.
You told me where I was supposed to be here at 1:00 this afternoon.
They sent out a lot.
Show me. Show me where that said that. Says June 20th. 7 PM.
Because they're within the 1,000 feet.
That, it was a setback variance? Jordan, it was a setback variance?
Yeah.
This
Right
afternoon?
here, it says for variance, 1 PM. And that side is for the conditional use permit at 7.
That was for the
Well, why
plat
did you put
subdivision,
this on the front page
not his
and
property.
this on the back page? Thanks a lot, folks. Been good knowing you.
I'd like to know why he's.
Boy, you really hit things
Did you
smooth
ask?
up, don't you?
Any other questions?
I could elaborate.
Well, we can discuss it
Further in,
after I
yeah.
close the
Yeah.
public meeting. Okay, anybody else wishing to speak for or against this petition, please come to the mic, state your name and your address. Anybody else wishing to speak for or against this petition, please come to the microphone. State your name and your address for the third time. Anybody wishing to speak for or against this petition, please come to the microphone, state your name and address.
I move that we close the public hearing.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor of closing the public hearing, say aye.
Aye.
Nay, if you're opposed to closing the public hearing. Hearing none, the public hearing is closed. Now, staff, any questions of anyone?
Jordan, was there any discussion at the Board of Adjustments about why he chose the location that he chose?
There was not, but I can tell you just from personal experience that that site is already at grade of the existing barn, where the property to the east is
Way down.
drops off pretty quick. So that would involve hauling in a lot of fill and then also building onto a separate parcel.
It fits the full design, what's the
The current.
Well, you
Here's
also
actually the
have
library.
to build a lane around the east side of the building because that isn't directly connected to the animal housing part of Lewiston Sales.
Like Carly showed us originally, the office and stuff is on that. on
Yeah,
the
that's
east
all
end
on
of
the
there,
east side.
where the west end is where the animals are at.
better for the flow design?
Could I clarify that the building?
Yeah,
layout, please?
come on up, Zach. You tell us what you
Bring
can.
the picture of the- Back up, please. That'll work. So just for everybody's reference that doesn't know the facility and the layout, loading dock, this is where the trailers back up to unload the livestock. And then we have pens set up in this facility here. And then our working chute is located here. Cattle transfer through these alleys here to our new barn. And then they're penned here with the new barn. And then we have an office space here. And this is right here is where our auction ring is. So the livestock come into this location here and they're sold in a ring here at our facility. So in order to, there's no way to get the building going that way without basically demolishing and starting over.
Workflow.
So that's why the addition goes there. And then Dick was about the concrete. I mean, the concrete's gonna be 4 feet all the way and then bird, I mean, it's. If you bring that one field up that Carly took, there's a perfectly quick cornfield running right here. So now that was took like last week. Right there. And there's his cornfield right there along the building. So. Just wanted to point that out also.
You said this photo was just from last week?
Yeah, you took it.
Tuesday.
Yeah,
It's awesome looking corn.
yeah, it's good corn. So I,
Well, if I hear you correctly, with the roof over a major part of this, with all the cement,
yes,
you should be improving the problem.
I am. Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
And
trying
then
to
with your setback, that is
Yep.
edge of the property.
Yep.
Do you know how far that has been
From
Yeah,
property?
Where your cement containment is how many feet from the property line?
We really didn't pinpoint that out, but it'll probably be, what's it gotta be? 10.
So the building's 10 feet. This is existing outdoor lot, so it can be pretty close to the property line.
Yeah, we'll make sure it's off the property line, of course.
But with your 4 foot, you shouldn't have any leakage
No,
going into
no.
Mr. Fisher's.
No,
field,
absolutely not,
right?
no.
And then I also wanted to point out that they are doing a drainage before and after, so no water is coming onto the lot from the existing gravel area. So that's
Yeah, we're
also
gonna-
doing a clean water
We're
diversion.
gonna put 2 catch. Can we bring that one photo of this, the barn up here, please? Yeah, right there, we're gonna put 2 inlets right here of catching the runoff from this building and then the new existing building. And it'll be emptied. So that'd be clear water, not even touching the future livestock area.
Roof water.
Roof water, yeah, roof water. So the only runoff coming off the building would be this little bit and then that going through the.
Eugene,
Where are you gonna have your manure storage in the,
It'll be right here somewhere. But manure is hauled away once a week by Lumens. Lumens take all the manure rights, so. And they, during the summer, they stockpile it at their location where it's permitted for, so.
any other questions? Zach, petitioner? Thank you.
Thanks.
Any more comments? Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion to move on
I would move to approve this,
with all the conditions.
yeah, with the findings of fact as written and the conditions.
Is there a second to that?
I'll second it.
In seconds, is there more discussion on it?
Which, what page are the findings of fact?
Yeah,
Okay, I think I found them. Page 41.
41.
On
the findings of
report.
fact, and report,
Okay, right.
conditions.
Yeah. Okay.
And recommendations. All in favor of recommending this as stated, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Hearing none. Anybody abstaining? Okay, thank you. And your next hearing will be July 9th at 9 o'clock. Okay, our third petition. It's PCO 620-24-03, and it's Isaiah Tooze. And petitioner seeks an after-the-fact conditional use permit for his existing feedlot to go beyond 300 animal units, a change in operation. In pursuant to chapters 8.4, 0.6.2, and 10.4.6.1 of the Winona County zoning ordinance, the subject property is located in Hillsdale Township, Section 30. Go ahead.
All right, so this petitioner is looking to get a CUP to go above the 300 animal units. They're currently registered at 345.3 animal units, but they have the capacity for 465 animal units. Here's the project location in Hillsdale Township. It is located along Tooze Road. This is the site plan. The site, this petition has no construction aspects at all to it. This is just for the animal unit numbers. This is what the site currently has storage for. They have manure storage for it. And so again, there's no construction taking place. Overview, this is looking towards the livestock buildings. The red one is just machine shed, but to the left is calf housing and heifer housing beyond that. This is the main freestall barn and parlor. And then this is looking to the northeast at their existing manure storage. This is looking north from Tews Road at their existing feed bunkers. They did go to the Hillsdale Township and they signed that they support it. They commented that they support agriculture in their township and supports the approval of this conditional use permit. I would like to touch on some of the non-compliance that was talked about in my report. Their non-compliance is strictly record keeping and the fact that they had more animals than they were permitted for. They've always had the capacity for this, but they weren't registered at it ever in their history, so that's why it was missed previously. They should have been registered at capacity versus what they had. So they're non-compliant.
Can you restate that? I didn't get it the first time through.
Yes, so the site has been around for a long time. I don't remember when it was exactly made. But they always had the capacity for this large number of animals. But when they originally filled out their paperwork when the feedlot ordinance was enacted, they put a smaller number on there than what they were capable of going to. So with the way the zoning ordinance is written and the way the Minnesota statute is written, you have to be permitted at capacity. And the way Winona County zoning ordinance is, if you go over 300, you have to get a conditional use permit. They were always registered at below 300, so that's why it's a trigger for this. So that was the non-compliance with that. The other non-compliance was just with their record keeping. They didn't keep the method or rate of application and nitrogen carryover. So with the application that they filled out for this and what they submitted with this, they submitted a manure management plan that was adequate for 300 plus animal units. And so they returned to compliance with that. And by doing this conditional use permit, they returned to compliance with the records. So with that, it's cleaning up any non-compliance. Their site is not non-compliant for any water quality discharge. It's a clean site and it's not a pollution hazard. So I, again, recommend supporting this and granting or recommending approval for the conditional use permit. And should you see, there are 4 draft conditions attached.
Any questions? Go ahead.
I'm trying to follow the timeline here, Carly. So back in 2014, they actually did major construction.
Back in 2014, yes, they, I believe, added on
Manure storage.
manure storage. Thank you.
Okay, so the site is, like you say, there's no new building going on here. It's
No
just
new building.
updating all the records.
Correct.
But you're the owner?
Yes, this is Isaiah Toombs.
Yeah. So, I mean, is there any plan to expand or are you just trying to get everything current and on paper?
Yeah, trying to be current and do what's right, I guess.
Okay.
I guess it kind of, my dad used to do the records and then he kind of quit and then I took over, but I didn't know some of these things. I used to be an electrician and it just kind of happened, I guess you'd say. I mean, right or wrong, that's what happened.
Isaiah's up next,
Yeah.
by the way.
But, so, yeah, so I'm following the timeline. So thank you.
With the addition of this new kind of threshold and getting all the books correct, are there any additional state requirements that he has to now adhere to?
Now he would have to adhere to the manure management plan.
And that's the only new addition?
That is the new addition.
Okay.
And any conditions that we put on with this, yeah. Otherwise, it's just stronger record keeping.
Okay.
Yep.
Any more questions for Carly? Gene?
If they would want to expand further in the future, they couldn't do that like Clearcrest Farm did with their most recent application, so that they didn't have to come back and get another?
Nope, the CUP is tied to an animal unit number. So we are going to the highest that Isaiah sees himself going to, and the highest that he, that can fit now, currently. So we're going to the max that he wants to go to. If he did want to expand in the future, he'd have to come back for another CUP.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Thanks, Colleen. And the petitioner, state your name and address, and tell us what you want to do.
Isaiah Tews. I live at 20723 Tews Road. I'm like the fourth or fifth generation. We live there. My parents live there. My brother lives at the next closest house. Just try to make a living, basically, and do what's right, I guess. I'd turn it over for questions. That'd be easier than me rambling, I think.
I have a question. Do you foresee any of the increased conditions as they're listed here, this manure management? Do you find that cumbersome? And do you feel as though you'd be adequately prepared to take on?
I mean, is it annoying? Yeah. But no, it's not. I mean, as far as I know, we were following, since I took over, we were following the rules, just that it wasn't on a computer. We just had paper records, which is what I thought it was supposed to be. We'll do the computer ones from now on, and I think do what's right. And I know the one, there was a nitrogen thing quite a while ago. That was the manure pit resolved that because we don't have to haul in summer, so.
On the manure, do you own enough land to take care of
Yeah.
the manure?
Yeah.
So you don't have to
Plenty.
contract?
No.
Because it goes into detail about.
Yep.
Okay, you own enough land. All right, thank you.
Any other questions? Otherwise, we can open up the public hearing. Thanks, David.
I so move that we open the public
And do I have
hearing.
a second for that?
I'll second.
Chip seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Hearing none, all in favor. Public hearing is now open. If anybody wishes to speak for or against this petition, please come to the microphone and state your name and address. Seeing none, anybody wishing to speak for or against this petition, please come to the microphone, state your name and your address. And then for the third time, anybody wishing to speak for or against this petition, please come to the microphone and state your name and address. Hearing none, do I have a motion to close the public hearing? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Hearing none, all in favor. Okay, commissioners, and what do you wish to do here?
Motion to approve with
All the
I
conditions
second it.
and findings of fact, correct? Any other discussion? Otherwise, we'll have a vote. All in favor of approving the petition with the recommendations and the findings of fact, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Anyone abstaining? All in favor? And your next hearing is July 9th at 9 o'clock here with the county commissioners. Thank you. And give me a minute, and I'll move on to our other,
Quick question for Carly. Do these have to be on a computer or we can't use paper records?
You track it.
You can't use paper records
You
anymore?
can use paper records. It's a matter of if you're containing all the correct information
Okay.
on those records.
So you still can use paper?
You can still use paper records, but I find that a lot more user error happens that way. A lot of information gets missed. The manure management planner does calculation for you.
Okay.
So it's a pain to learn, but once you learn it, it's really helpful. And you can also hire a consultant to do it for you. You can have Sarah West at the Fillmore County SWCD, and starting July 1st, Amanda Gentry at the Winona County SWCD.
Oh, can do,
We'll be doing manure management plans.
oh, great.
So we're getting a lot more help to do that. It's very needed, so.
Good, that's good, so I
And
will take advantage.
At some point, wouldn't we want the data tracked? I mean, on the record for reporting or county?
Yep. Yep, so the reason why I collect them during inspection time. The reason why I put in the, as a condition to submit it for 4 years is just to kind of get him into that habit of doing that and kind of figure it out. And if he has any questions with it, he can ask me. And then after that, it'll be when I'm out doing an inspection. And for a feedlot over 300, I'm out every 4 to 5 years to do an inspection, unless there's a complaint or an emergency event. So that's what I'm looking at, those records. But I do submit those to the MPCA and to their database, and it's in our database. So we do have records.
Well, it's good to hear that you've got local resources being enhanced.
Absolutely, we need it.
I
So
have friends in the paper business, when you say you can't do it on paper, that they cringe.
they can do it on paper. It's just a matter if you're doing it correctly on paper.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, we're going to move on to the next petition, PC 06-20-24-04. And the petitioner seeks a conditional use permit to allow existing feedlot facility to expand beyond 300 units. A change in operation pursuant to chapters 8.4.6.2 and 10.4.6.1 of the Winona County Ordinance. The subject property is located in section 32 of Utica Township.
So this is the petition for Curtis Munt. He is consolidating feedlots that he currently has. He's bringing all of his dry cows home, which is awesome for management and the current setup. Right now, all of his dry cows are outside on dirt lots, being fed outside with no runoff control. So bringing them home, bringing them enclosed will keep them a lot more comfortable and will maintain the manure and less inputs for the operation. And this is where the project is located in section 32 of Utica Township, right along Sandstone Drive. They are looking to add 110 by 156 freestall barn addition. Again, this will be bringing home the dry cows and that are outside at a other feedlot. And then it will be bringing the cows inside from an open lot, not really an open lot, but a dirt pasture just to the south of this. They will also be updating their milking parlor. Right now they have tie stalls, which are pretty old fashioned. So modernizing that will be great for their operation. And then right to the east of the milking parlor, they have an existing concrete liquid manure storage area that they're looking to cover, which will help keep rainwater and any precipitation out of that. So it'll ultimately increase their storage capacity there. It's really just for the milk house wash and any manure generated within the parlor. This is a picture looking to the east at the existing freestall barn. The ground is gradually sloped that way to the east, so it's probably a 2% slope, which will help with clean out, and everything will go into the existing liquid manure storage area. This is looking to the south at where the cows are outside currently on a dirt lot. And this is looking at that small liquid manure storage area, the short term that they have just outside of the parlor currently. The petitioner did go to the Utica Township on June 10th, and they indicated no comment for this petition. And then I'd like to also touch on the noncompliance with this one. They're non-compliant on manure sampling, and for their record keeping, they just weren't keeping dates of application. So it's a minor noncompliance. It's not considered a water quality discharge. It's not considered a pollution hazard. It's more of the record keeping and making sure the manure management plan is up to date. So with this, I did recommend supporting approval for this with 5 conditions that those 4 years following approval of this, if it should be approved, that they do submit their manure management plan to me along with manure sampling test so they can get an average for their manure content. Any questions?
The petitioners, please come up and state your name and address and speak on behalf of your project.
I'm Curtis Munt. I live at 17387 Sandstone Drive. I guess if there's any questions about the manure management program, I've done that for several years. I missed one thing. She talked about that application. I didn't realize every field had to be labeled every year. I figured that was like, it carried over through the years. If you see it, it's quite the program. And no, I don't think you could do it in paper. There'd be no way. The program holds all your fields every year, and then it holds all your crops. So every year you jump ahead, it always brings everything, keeps walking everything through it. It's a good program, but it's time consuming. It takes a lot of time and a lot of attention to detail. And then we do a lot of double cropping too. So a lot of them fields will get planted with rye in the fall. So then you can split them fields off and kick them back down and reapply manure to them in the spring. So it's wild. I mean, I do a lot of computer work now. I mean, when I started farming, I was 0, and now I got everything on the computer. The cow management, the cow records, and besides the manure management and all the bookwork and the payroll and you name it, So yeah, any questions on the manure management program, I can probably help you if you do got questions. I've done it for probably 10 plus years. So, and any questions on I guess the dry cows coming home is the biggest thing because we have them on pasture spring, summer, and fall. And the cows you seen in the picture there were actually the dairy cows. Since the free stall only holds as 96 stalls and we're currently milking like 200. So then only half of them have stalls. So the rest half usually go to pasture, which if you know cows, half of them don't want to go out there because they're lazy. So this will give them enough beds and everything else to lay. And then we won't have to have the dairy cows on pasture. We'll have the dry cows come off the pasture that's off-site, and then they'll come back home and have that current dairy pasture where the dairy cows are now, the picture that you've seen. And then the dairy cows will stay housed inside the free stall at all times. So, yeah, I guess any questions?
Will the dry cows be housed in that same building?
They will to the south. That's why we're making it a 3-row barn on the south side. So our current building's 110 or 100 feet wide, where this will be 110 feet wide. So we'll have 3 rows of stalls on the south, and then we can kind of group the far off dry cows and then let them out kind of on that pasture that she showed you the picture of. And then the current cows, the lactating cows, will stay in, and then they'll have plenty of beds. And then everything will be undercover and should be
Where's the
good.
newborn area within that?
We have a pre-fresh building. I don't think you took a picture of that, did you? That's just to the north. It's a different building, yeah, yeah.
Your farm. So
Yep.
you do everything.
Everything's right there. Yeah. If you actually bring the picture up of the farm, I can show you or point out the pre-fresh barn. There's usually anywhere from 15 to 30 animals in there, depending on calving and everything else. So right here's the pre-fresh. And she's actually got an old picture because that's now a covered lot. That was where we were feeding them outside. Now we have that covered. So it works really good. But we just did that here. Oh, that's an old picture, but. So yeah, this building right here, actually about that much of it is the pre-fresh. And we have calves on this side, but. So it'll work really good. So now the cows actually currently now they go in and get milked, and then we have 2 different groups and they just get switched on the lot here. And the milk isn't the group that's milked goes back and the other group goes in. it'll be the same concept. So we'll just run one group in and then run group out. So parlor will be in there now, which we milk in there now anyways, but in the winter time, half the cows are in that parlor or in that where the parlor would be. That's where they're housed. So now we'll get away from that and everybody will be housed up in the freestall barn, if that makes sense. So it'll be a lot more healthier for them and a lot more. Yeah. So.
Any other questions?
I'm sorry, where's the manure storage on the picture?
Right here, where it says Utica.
Well.
Ramp going down.
Spin on that.
Okay. But yeah, this is just more of a ramp to get down so the barn cleaner comes straight off into the spreader. But what we're gonna use it for now is a flush pit for like your parlor holding area. So we'll flush everything and then everything that comes into the parlor as far as pumping out and water will hit this. And then we can just pump it out of there. That's the idea behind it. If it works, we'll see. I don't know if it's gonna freeze. That's why we want to cover it. So. Yep.
And there was, Shep.
I have a question, and not to sound too hippy dippy, but in terms of like animal quality of life, is this, is the increase in barn space going to then increase the density of animals in there, or will there generally?
No, there'll be actually, it'll be less that density. Because right now I got 96 stalls in that barn and I'm running 200 plus cows in there.
Sure.
So they're fighting for 96 stalls right now.
Sure.
Is what they're doing. So then half of them will probably lay on this open lot until this barn door opens. And then they were running in and they fall down because they know it's sleep time in there. There's mattresses in there. It's nice. The other half goes out to the pasture, goes through this barn. And this is the picture you're looking at out here. There's a pretty good size, 10-acre pasture, but obviously coming off, it turns into mud and it's just like now the mud's that deep before they actually get to the grass.
Sure.
So it just, there's too many animals out in that to make it a decent pasture. That's the idea. If we can have 30 cows running around out there, it'll stay nice and it'll be good for the dry cows. So, so yeah, it should increase animal health and a lot better. Yes.
I just have a simple question about dry cows. Is that an interim thing? Is that like a cyclical thing, or is that when they're all done and too old to?
No, a cow will lactate once a year. So as a cow gets pregnant at 7 months, she'll calve in 9 months. So around 7 months, you'll dry them up. You'll just simply quit milking them. So at that point, you'll dry treat or whatever, and then they're technically dry.
They're on vacation.
Yeah, they're on vacation while, because the baby's this big at 7 months, but then she really grows them last 2 months. So you give them time off, basically. Yep.
No,
No? Unless they're young?
no.
They go through a cycle, they have a calf, then you can milk them. They run them the cycle for 7 months, dry them up, so they rejuvenate. So when they calf again, then you go through the cycle again.
So they don't lactate while they're pregnant?
Yes, they do.
Yes, they do.
For the first 7 months, they do.
For 7 months, they do.
Yep. Yep. They just, you can't just keep milking a cow without that. It's just a cycle thing. Eventually they'll just get fat and just, the milk will just go to a point where you're like, well, what's the point,
So how many years can they give milk?
13? What do you think, Isaiah? We had a 13-year-old cow? Yep.
It just depends on the cow.
It depends on the cow. A cow doesn't calve the first time till about 2 years of age. So
Some go up 26, 30 years.
It's
that's a remarkable cow if they're doing that. On average, I would say in most herds, on average, you're looking at between 4 and 6 on average cow, because usually they'll have an issue where you need to sell them, a mastitis issue or a lame issue or can't get bred back or whatever. So it's fun. I enjoy it.
Any other questions before we open the public hearing? Thank you. Curtis.
Thanks.
I'll make the motion to open the public hearing.
And then do I have a second? All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. We have opened the public hearing. Anybody wishing to speak for or against this petition, please come to the mic and state your name and address.
You don't have too many people left.
I still got to do the procedural thing here.
I realize.
You discipline in the hallway later.
I guess we
Anybody
have two on.
wishing to speak for or against this petition, please come to the mic and state your name and address. Now, for the third time, anybody wishing to speak for or against this petition, please come to the mic, state your name and address.
I move that we close the public hearing.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Hearing none, all in favor. All right.
To approve it with the findings and facts and conditions.
Second.
All right. Any discussion? All in,
Well, just so people know, this is a vast improvement for, the operation. And that's part of what the goal is to improve these operations, make them better.
Farmer was a good steward.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a good business in this area. I stand by our agrarian past, so absolutely agree.
and the way our ordinance is written, they have to do this to stay in conformance.
Right.
Say that again?
Because of the way our ordinance is written, they have to come back and petition for a higher number. Because if you're under a certain number, you don't even need any of this.
Oh, I was unaware.
That's correct.
It's a control factor.
Is it just a right to farm issue or?
Well, what happens is, like you've heard, these are generations turning over on the same farm. To be competitive in today's industry, you have to grow. So, let's say, for example, if you're under 300 units, you don't need a conditional use permit. But it's pretty easy to go from 280, which is under that number, to 310 just with the life cycle. Now, I'm not talking probably accurate terms here, but you get what I mean. So that puts them in nonconformance. And then that secondary part is the need manure management plan. And Carly covered quite a bit of that tonight, of bookkeeping and how to do that. And there's continual courses on that. And they're becoming very adept to doing that because of fertilizer management costs. So these are, to me, they're forced to do it to stay in compliance. So
I see that. I mean, I would argue that the sooner you can get some manure management and compliance at any level, I think is important. So I'm glad to see it here.
well, most of them.
When you
they're
start working
improvement.
with manure, and depending what handle you do, you can take 100 different samples. And statistically, none of them may be the same or exact complete part of them.
How do you mean that?
Because of the way you pull your sample.
You're talking about,
The samples can vary to how much nitrogen, phosphorus, and potash is in these samples compared to them. And no two samples could be alike
I'm learning so much tonight. That's,
because of the statistical. Some of this in farming is more art than it is science. And they're trying to create a science where there is no science, it's only art. I mean, you can get broad generalities into the situation in handling manure. And I've had different views probably from anybody else who's sitting here, but when you have liquid manure, you have more problems than you would if you had something out of a pile or a compost pile, putting it out on the ground. And even in dry, what I do is compost it and sitting on a pile. But you can have so much variable between one load and the next load that you're hauling out into the field.
you can't attribute it just to feed? Is that what you're stating?
No, it's a different
Thank you.
mixes within the manure. Different mixes in feed. If you got higher soybean protein content, you can come up with higher nitrogen contents. You can also have higher phosphorus levels, but we're getting off the area.
We're getting off the subject here, and Curtis, we closed the public hearing. You're set for July 9th. We're in the month application. We need to finish this, so I don't think we finished the final vote.
No.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Hearing none, it is carried.
You
You're,
can give education afterwards.
yeah,
I'll take it in the
Carly's
hallway.
pretty
I
good at that.
appreciate hearing it.
And Curtis, July 9th at 9 in the morning is your next hearing. Thank you. Okay, anything to discuss? Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, the same. We are adjourned at 8:33, I guess. Oh, Lynn, I need to sign that.
There's so much
I want you.
I'm almost certain the way.